All right, everyone. Sigma Squirrel here. Welcome to the inaugural, the first ever, the first. You were there. You could say you were there. The first ever Sharp Money Office Hours, where we are going to go deep on education and graph selection, and then we're going to take your questions. We're going to do this every Thursday from here to the end of time. And one of the benefits of being in the network. So welcome, everyone. Man, what a great list of attendees. We got 20 on already. Super cool. Joining me today, we've got Closing Dime, Math Wins, and Jay's Place. You got the whole squad here. We're really excited about this and really looking forward to evolving this over time. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to start off each one of these with an educational topic. Today's topic, we're going to talk about sharp books, why we like them, how we use them. And then we're going to, each week, we're going to go into a segment called Would I Take This Play? And we're going to look for a little audience participation. And the goal of that session is going to be to just share with you what we think about the graphs, with the ultimate goal for all of you of just better bet selection. I think between the four of us, we've all got different styles, but each of our styles has demonstrated profitability over the long run in the 2 years that we've been up. And so we just want to talk about it. And then a couple of things. In your Zoom toolbar, if you've never used Zoom before, where you've been, but Q&A at the bottom. If you have questions you want answered, there's a couple of ways to do it. Just enter your question. We'll see it come in. We'll try and get through all of them. And then you've got a react option. So when we're asking, would you take this graph? We want you to click the thumbs up if you take it, and then we'll discuss. So with that, let's give it a test. Everybody, give me that big heart reaction right now. Who's got it? Let them flow. Oh yeah, there we go. Look, we got a bunch of pros. Okay, so let's jump right in. Today's topic before we talk about the graphs is sharp books. Why do we use sharp books as a price comparison? Why do we use the ones that we use? And how do those books help us determine which bets are good bets? To kick this discussion off, let me turn this over to you, Dime. Talk about your take. Sharp books. How do you use them? Why are they important?
Exactly. So I think the biggest thing is understanding the difference between a sharp book and a retail book. And it's really how they move their odds. They're actual bookmakers. So there's actual real life people there making real decisions. And what makes a sharp book sharp is really their customers that bet into them. Unlike a retail book like FanDuel, DraftKings, or Caesars, who once you start making money, they're just going to limit you down to basically amount of money that isn't even worth playing. But the sharp books, they'll take your action, they'll take large wagers from you, and then they'll profile you as a winning or losing bettor, and then adjust their lines based on, that information they have. So really the sharp books, we use Bookmaker, Circa, and Pinnacle. Those are the sharpest books. And it's really because they can profile the people betting into them and then shape their lines up with that information. So they don't want to limit these professional bettors because they use their lines or their bets and their action to set very accurate lines. Now, retail books will typically just follow the action of the sharp books because they are what we would call market makers. Basically, if they start moving one direction, the market is going to follow. And as plus EV bettors, essentially all we're looking for is a sharp book to move their odds downwards so that the probability is higher, and then a retail book just kind of lags there. But that's basically a quick summary of it. I really just how a sharp book moves their odds throughout the day is they'll open a line up early in the day, let's just call it MLB, maybe even overnight. They'll open up like a money line at about $1,000 wagers. So everyone has the same exact limit. Whether you are a rec bettor or professional bettor, everyone will have that $1,000 limit to start the day. And as they see some money coming in on both sides of the line, let's just call it Pinnacle, they will bump up to $2,000 wagers. And then they see where that action takes them. They shape their lineup again. And throughout the day, Pinnacle will typically close at about $20,000 limits on MLB money lines by game time. So basically every couple hours, they will just bump up their limits a couple $1,000s. And basically that just allows them to safely get to the correct price If they ever went from $1,000 wagers up to $20,000 wagers, they would just get hammered at really bad prices. So just the way the sharp book moves is so efficient, and that's why you can kind of trust them. If anyone else would like to add anything, I covered a decent amount of it, but there's probably some more that we could definitely talk about.
Yeah, Math, what do you have to add there?
Yeah, just being aware, this is kind of the whole logic that our bots are built off of. So you'll see when we get to graphs, you'll have two different setups and two different axes on our graphs. One is the limits. That's exactly what Dime was just talking about how limits will raise at sports books throughout the day, just giving us more confidence in how accurate that line is as those limits increase. Just things to watch for when you're looking for these limits at these sharp books that we use as a judgment in terms of fair prices. Different markets have different limits. So you'll see your main lines, your spreads, and your totals have limits that get into like the tens of thousands of dollars. You'll have smaller markets or player props, which limits get into like the hundreds of dollars. That sometimes they don't even get to $1,000. So just understanding the fact that the higher these limits are, the more confidence there is, and the lower these limits are, the easier the markets are manipulated by sharp bettors. So you'll actually have sharp bettors that bet the opposite side that they want to move markets a certain way until it's a price that they want, and they'll hammer it back. Lots of different things can happen, but just understanding these limits, why they raise throughout the day, and what's like a lower limit and what's a higher limit depending on the market that you're betting is really important.
Jay, a specific question to you.
Yeah.
We added soccer recently, and the thing that I think, I certainly noticed as admittedly inexperienced soccer better, but the bot makes you a super better in any league. Frankly, I've been doing quite well with it. The thing that struck me was just how low the opening limits are. So, we think WNBA limits open low at $500, but we've got these overseas soccer leagues that are open at $100 limits with giant EVs, which always has, in my career has made me skeptical. Low limits and movement mean nothing because you can manipulate the lines, but it works. Talk about low limits in soccer. Very specific question. Why are we okay with trusting the EV on a low limit soccer matchup?
Well, the closing line value tells us that time and time again, we keep beating this. I like to take these bets on FanDuel specifically. It always seems like FanDuel will target a week and a half out, 2 weeks out. Sometimes I've even seen three. But whenever we see these lower limit plays, I know a lot of people say I'm looking for 1,000 minimum. These plays I'm okay taking. I've actually been taking these EV plays on soccer for about a year and a half now, and the closing line value has been very well. Right now, I have 4 plays on FanDuel, and they're all beating by about 40 odds, 40 cents right now.
That's
So I
incredible.
think the closing line value just tells us that we keep playing these, we will turn a profit.
That's
And
great.
I am profitable in them right now as well from the bot.
Good insight there. Here's where I'll encourage anyone who has questions about the subject matter. Actually, I'm just looking for a test because we've never done this before. If someone wants to type in a question, I just want to make sure that this
Right.
functionality works, and I can see it would be super helpful. And while we're doing that, I'll specific to soccer, how I interpret those low limits is, if we're a week or two out, maybe even 3 weeks, those are my favorite soccer bets to take because what I know is our bot. Hey, there you go, Braxton. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. There we go. There we go. Let's see. All right, cool. And you've been answered. Hey, look, technology, very cool. We know that line has a better than 50%. I don't know exactly what that number is, but better than 50% chance to improve over the 2 weeks before the match. And I would say 75% of my 2 week ahead of match soccer bets improve on those $100 to $200 limits that we're seeing. And I've noticed Bovada actually, there a lot of soccer handle goes through that offshore book. We've got a Bovada bot. It's been really strong. It's been very, very strong.
Sigma, is there a way? I got a good question here right now. I know we're probably going to save some of them for the end, but BA had a good question. Can you pull that up on screen by any chance, or should I just read it off?
I'll start with BA's question. These soccer bets do not usually have two or more sharps. Is this still okay?
Yeah, so the reason that we actually only use Pinnacle as a DVig book for soccer, and the main reason is that the US market for soccer is very small. We only have MLS. And so the most of the betting that goes on is outside of the United States. And Pinnacle is so at a bookmaker in Circa, Pinnacle is a Canadian book, and that's what sees most of the offshore action and most of the action from anyone. So the Pinnacle limits are higher on soccer. Just because it's not a US based sports. Same kind of reason, and this is might be getting off topic a little bit, but for betting like college sports, it's all obviously US college sports like college football. We trust the US based books a little bit more than we trust Pinnacle. So like Circa is a Vegas book. We kind of think their lines are going to be sharper because they're US based. So it's kind of just an information thing. When it comes to soccer, like Pinnacle just had, I don't know if they have a better model, they have better like live models. They just move their lines better. Like I said, a lot of the information we get from Pinnacle or they get is sharp better shaping their lines, but Pinnacle also has their own models and they can spit out some really good openers on soccer. And that's why, they'll open up at $100 and be showing value to FanDuel. We hit them on FanDuel and it closes very well. I mean, obviously sometimes betting that early, a week or two out, I mean, you're taking on a little risk where you could close negative 20% EV or plus 20% EV because there's so much time for that market to shape up. But for soccer, yeah, it's really Pinnacle is just the sharpest book out there. They just take more money than any of the other books that we use, so we just strictly use them, and that's pretty much the standard across the industry there.
All right, keeping things going. Bill, appreciate it. Sane Sigma looking good as always. Thanks. I did my hair today.
It always looks the same.
Looks really nice. Put on my suit for y'all. Okay, let's get to graphs. Math is the keeper of this week's Would I Bet It? Would I Bet It? That's the segment and the focus here. Now, get ready with those thumbs up or thumbs down. The first graph, stand by. All right, here we go. First graph available. Bet MGM run line Boston Red Sox -1.5 to -125. Thumbs up if you would take this bet. This is we're starting easy.
Yeah, if you don't take this bet,
yeah,
I'm
Jay,
sorry,
kick
you
it
gotta-
off. Would you take this bet?
would I take this bet? I'm going to max out for sure.
Okay.
Nah,
Why?
this
Why
bet
would
here,
you
we
take
see-
this bet?
We see all three sharps are dropping and we have the limit going up. This is a textbook chart. This is exactly what we want to see. And if you take only these bets, you probably have a pretty good win rate too. If you keep it in the odds that I'm seeing on the screen right now, the 116, the 140 range. The closing line value has been pretty great on those bets with three sharps dropping.
Jeff,
How do you handle the unit sizing since it's only a 1% EV play?
So here, I know it says only 1% EV, but I can kind of imply that the fair value is a little bit deeper than what they're saying. So here they say a -127 is a fair value, but we see at -130 Pinnacle double down and they went a little lower. And we see Bookmaker also double down from 138 to go down to the 141, 140 range. I think they felt like, hey, 130 and 138, these lines still got hit. Let's go a little bit lower. So I think the fair value is probably around 130 maybe.
That's how I view it too. When we have the line movement like this, I always round up my bet because the market is moving that way. And like you said, it's kind of the last number that Pinnacle dropped on is kind of where you can trust fair value. Because this fair value is just taking a stagnant line. It doesn't know really where it was moving from. So that's why, these 1% EV plays, like I would put a unit, maybe a unit and a quarter on a bet like this. So if the only time I really go off the Kelly criterion formula, and I don't do it too often because I have limits, so I typically just max bet anyway. But if the market is kind of just stable, where you're seeing all the lines stay stable, then that's where I just use the Kelly. But when it's a good graph like this, I'm definitely going over the Kelly.
Right. So for more experienced members of the Discord, you heard it from Dime. It's okay to go over the half Kelly recommendation if you got a good feel for this stuff. And a graph like this you wait for. These are the good ones. round it up to a full unit or take more. You got to get it in while the getting's good. Math, what's your take? Would you take this bet?
Yeah, I started with this one because this is pretty much your textbook, what you're looking for. Like this is about as good as it gets. Kind of like what Dime was talking about. I've gotten to the point where I've been doing this long enough with our bots that I just flat unit bet everything just because when I see a play like this, I know the trend is in our favor and it's probably going to keep increasing in value. I wouldn't recommend that for our new members or members who aren't 100% certain in the bets that they're taking yet. If you're just new to the Discord, if you're just kind of feeling this out, I would honestly just stick to Quarter Kelly until you kind of find your rhythm and understand what you're looking for in terms of identifying graphs that we want to be taking. But otherwise, I kind of agree with Dime here, and this is picture perfect, exactly what you should be looking for. Biggest keys here are, you see that the biggest limit raise from 5,000 to 7,500 is where the massive downturn in the odds price happens. And if you think about what we're actually doing from a big sports betting industry standpoint is we are literally just following the best sports bettors who get down the most money. At that limit jump from 5,000 to 7,500, that allows the best sports bettors to get the most down. So if they're driving a line one way because now they can get the most volume down, we want to be on the same side as those bettors. So when we bet with a top-down approach, that's kind of functionally what we're doing. And that's what you're seeing represented in this graph right here.
I think looking at this graph too, if you're looking at the pink line, which is Pinnacle, and the white line, which is the limits for Pinnacle, those two lines correlate together. And like you said, the best bettors in the world, the professionals, are waiting for high limits to get down as much as they can. So we see the limits go up to that 7,500, and the price was at minus 119. So basically, that tells us that sharp bettors were betting this at minus 119 for a price, and we can go get this, or sorry, they were betting it even lower at minus 135. And kind of like Jay was saying earlier, we can get it at minus 125. So the edge is probably much larger than we think. But yeah, when you see the pink and white line, white line goes up, limits go up, and the pink line drops, that's the correlation you're looking for. The white line doesn't necessarily correlate with the other sharp books at all, but the markets typically move in sync. So
Yeah. What I'd add here is everybody in our Discord can aspire to the day where less than $7,500 bet just ain't worth your time. That's the first thing I would say. That's good living right there. Second, anyone who's in our VIP service knows how this works. When we ship a originated play in VIP, we always ship a good to number. So we'll say you can take this line at this price, good for 10 cents, good for 5 cents. Do not exceed price. Don't pay worse than. And so these bettors are coming in with a model that says this is a good bet up to a certain price, and you can see exactly where their good to was because that's where the drop stops. And so it's good to have a model that works and be able to get this kind of volume down. So they're betting the snot out of it at $4,000 limits at minus 115. And they're getting a ton of value. And let's call them, in kind of stock trading parlance, the institutional investor, the big volume pros. Your institutional bettors, your syndicates, are going to leave a trail in the snow, if you will. You can see their footprints. Their footprints is bet action and handle volume. And the second Pinnacle knows that the smart folks think this is value, that tells Pinnacle to move their line. They move the line, they raise the limit, and they see what happens. And they continue to get action at minus 119, minus 120. When they raise to 5, they still got bet into. So they were like, okay, we still got some action here. They raised it to 7,500 and they got a ton of action. And they went, oh shit, okay, we're way off. And then you saw the odds really plummet. Meanwhile, BetMGM is out back having a smoke and they don't know that this line has moved. And that's how we win. And we do this all day, every day. And I'll admit,
did you guys lose him?
Uh-oh.
Hey, Adam.
Sigma down.
Sigma down. All right. Well, you want to move on? I think we covered that bot play pretty
It's
well.
up, graphs down in a
Oh,
what's that?
we're back.
You
just cut
glitched
out.
out.
Sorry, I got kids live streaming.
Oh yeah.
bull-
You want to move on to the next play then, Matt? I think
Yeah,
that
we'll,
one's
we'll move
covered pretty
on.
good. That's
Yeah,
textbook take.
correct. So
Over
these
on
first
that.
two, Sigma, you've been relegated, my man.
Cool.
So
Cool.
these
The only
first
other
two,
thing I'll say is you can upvote questions in the question window. That will really help us know what you want to talk about. So last comment, Jeff, and then we'll move on.
yeah, I was just we already moved on, but you're good. Um, these first two are just ones that I wanted to give you guys like very clear examples, and then the last three will have most of our discussion time. So the next one you can see here is literally just the inverse of exactly what we just saw. So this is almost the exact opposite of what we want to play. As the limits are increasing, the odds are increasing. This is one you should actually probably go poke around at the. I think the Rockies were playing the Red Sox this game, but at the opposite side, -1.5 to see if you can get a price close to the flipped fair value here of -128. Unless you kind of understand what I was just talking about, probably not something you want to go do tomorrow, but just giving you guys a good example of something that is an absolute avoid here.
So
Anything you guys want to add before we kind of these last three are probably our biggest talking points.
Can you hear me now?
yeah,
I
you
can,
sound
yes.
good now.
The thing that I want to do, like I see, on these graphs, people taking these bets that are members. I love you all, but I want to shake you like a baby. I want to grab you and shake the shit out of you as hard as I can and scream, no, do not do this. This is not, you do not bet every graph. We don't tell you what to do, but don't do this, whatever you do.
I think a lot of new members hop in and they see all the EV plays and they just start hitting them all and then quickly realize they're the only name on the graph. And then I think that a lot of members figure it out pretty quickly. But I mean, this is a good example for new members where last example, we were looking at a 1% EV play. Now we're looking at a 2% EV play. Kelly's telling you to bet more. The limit's even higher. Like everything's there. You get all three sharp books, and because we have these charts, we're saying lay off, something you don't want to touch. Market is moving completely against us. I mean, if you just look in the past hour here or couple hours, like bookmaker moved from like plus 102 up to plus 120. So it's been moving 18 cents towards, the other side of this line. So definitely avoid this one at all costs.
I mean, if anything, you want to get fancy, I would take the opposite side. I would say, look, the line's moving in the other direction. I might want to I want to check the price on the other side and take that side. I mean, this is what that graph tells me is take the other side. Am I?
Yeah, when you were muted, Jeff mentioned that too. He said, if you can find that fair value price -128 on the other side, then that's something you should look into. That's kind of more advanced though.
Well, Sigma, to put your worries at ease, I just pulled up the original screenshot. There was nobody who took this bet. So
Makes me happy. Yeah, I don't shake babies.
are-
For the record, I
are-
don't advocate babies shaking. Baby shaking is not what we do here. We love doing babies.
So, are you saying in future episodes of our time here, I should not crop out the bet taken names?
We don't.
So
We're not
we have
into
some public shame.
no bet shaming.
No bet shaming.
I
Okay.
like how you've done this. This is nice. Bob says, should a one sharp bet be avoided? My short answer is no. Jay,
Bob,
what do
you're
you
in
think?
luck. The next three graphs are all one sharp graphs.
All right, let's go.
Go.
So these next three, I'm curious because I think that there may be some differing opinions of our four-person panel here. So here's
right.
our first one.
All right, give people time to react. Thumbs up.
Yep.
Would you take this bet?
I'll
Thumbs
just
down or
talk
poop
through
if
it.
you wouldn't.
So we've got a MLB full game total. It's about 6:37 p.m. here. Expected value is 1.3%. And then you have the following graph. Seeing a lot of thumbs up. Who wants to start us off here?
I'll
Well,
agree
hold
with
on a
the
second.
thumb.
Braxton, you raised your hand. You got something you want to say?
Braxton's on his fourth beer. I don't know if that's smart.
All right, hold on. We're gonna experiment. Braxton, you go for it.
Oh gosh.
Oh shit! Can you hear?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we got you.
No, I didn't mean to raise my hand, but I would actually take this bet if it was like an hour or so before first pitch.
Walk us through it.
Yeah. So this one's kind of in the middle, right? So all day the odds have been kind of increasing. Once it hit that limit of 7,500 or so, it kind of stayed stagnant, and then it dipped about 15 cents. And so it's something I would chase. I would chase the late theme, but I could see how this one could be debated for sure. I wouldn't say this would be a play for newer members or people who are just getting into it. This wouldn't scare me away by any means.
See, now I would scream at me if I start breaking up again. I would take this bet because what I know sharp bettors do who care about account health is they try to hide their CLV by betting right before the game. And so if I see a real limit close to game and the limits drop, what that tells me is Pinnacle's profiled sharp bettors that are hammering this thing to disguise their CLV before a game and just mask their action until the last minute. And so this tells me I'm going to be betting with smart money if I do this.
I mean, that makes sense to me. I mean, this is why I would like it, because it's getting closer to game time.
All right, Jeff. After Dime, your comment, then Jeff, let's go to the next.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking this play as well. And really, the big reason why is just professional bettors, the closer to game time you are, the more information they have. So it looks like this line was stable from basically, noontime to about 3 o'clock. And that's probably when lineups came out. And then once you have the information, once you get closer to game time, you have the lineups, you have the weather, you have a lot more information. So the best time to bet is really before game time, and that's when you have the most information. So when I see the odds dropping right before game time, a couple hours before, I trust it the most. Typically, when I'm looking at a bet, I like to see the overall picture moving down from left, like upper left corner to right, meaning it's been dropping the whole day. But if that isn't happening, then I take the last like couple hours of movement as like a little bit more weight in those couple hours. And here, over the last 5, 6 hours, it's only been stagnant or dropping. So that's why I like this one.
All right, Jeff, let's move on. What do you got?
All right, next one. We got MLB money line, 9 a.m. So early in the morning. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Would you take this play?
One, thumbs up, thumbs down. A lot of thumbs up.
Jay, would you take this bet?
Would I take this bet? Yeah, I would take this bet. I see. I think all three books are kind of coming to agreement on a price. I can't tell what book this bet is on. That would help me a little bit, but yeah, 1% EV. I would probably go a little bit. I'd probably go like 0.75 units here at half Kelly. This isn't one that I super love because bookmaker must have felt some type of way to raise their odds towards Circa. But to see that they're all dropping after the limit increase from 4,000 to 5,000 makes me feel a little bit more confident on it. Being early in the morning too, it's not one that I would say hammer, but I think it's definitely worth it.
Dime, what about you?
I would play this one as well, but same reason as Jay. We have three sharp books here. They're all kind of going to the same price. It's 9 a.m. So it's very early in the morning, and it's only a 1% EV play. So there are reasons to lay off of this because it's so early in the day. The EV is low. I'm at the point where I am playing anything that I think is a possible edge for basically a max bet, especially on main markets where I know I can actually get money down. So maybe in my first year of EV betting, this is a play that I would probably lay off of just because it's so early. The EV is kind of low. It's under a 50% win probability. Like, there's a few reasons to lay off of it if you are a beginner plus EV better and really trying to scale and be as safe as possible. But for me now, I would probably take the risk here because I'm just trying to play every single edge I can.
Math, what about you? You taking this?
I am not taking this. This screams fake to me. Um, and by fake, this is where sharps drive a line one way to hammer it back the other way. If you look at the total movement here, circa from open till this time right now has moved 5 cents, 4 or 5 cents. Penny looks like they've moved 9 or 10 cents total. And then bookmaker is actually now higher than their opening line. For me, if I'm going to take a play in the morning, I'm looking for a bigger move than this. These small moves that we see on limit increases early in the day, these are ones that typically have a chance to, not always, but have a chance to get flipped over at a higher limit move. So just because of the minimal line movement here, this is one that I'm not taking. If we have this same graph, but this last jump from Pinnacle, instead of being from like 106 to 103, is like 106 to minus 105, then I'm probably taking it because it's a much larger jump. But something like this, I'm gonna wait and see what the next limit increase does. If the next limit increase continues to go down in terms of prices, then I'm all over it. But if that next one jumps the other way, then that's that fake that we are looking at. That is a possibility in this, in my eyes, in this play.
I'm with Math on this. 90% of my volume gets down before 10 a.m. Central every day because that's when I have the time to do it. And if I don't see a clear trend down, I just pass. That's just a rule I've set for myself, so I don't have to interpret or guess or pick. I like Dime's approach. I'm taking them all. I don't care. That's a rule. That's worked for you. My rule is if I don't see a clear trend, I don't take it. They're both valid. Dime gets a lot more handle down and bet countdown than I do, but I think that's why. But it works for both. It really does.
I think me and Jeff had this conversation before, but as much as we try teaching everyone how to do it, we all have our own opinions, and our own opinions have worked differently. So what me and Jeff always say is, like, if you're a new member trying to learn, obviously you're trying to learn from us, but you need to come up with like your own logic, and you need to have confidence behind what you're doing. So obviously it's okay to be wrong and to take a stab at a line like this. And if you see it reverses on you, then maybe, don't start betting so early or something like that. But I think really there's no textbook way to do it. And if you want to be successful as an EV better and read line movement charts, you got to be confident in a strategy that you kind of evolved yourself.
All right, Jeff, we got one more. Yeah.
Yep. Last one on the day.
Okay, well,
We've
let's
got
talk.
a-
Let's talk this graph, and then we'll go to Q&A.
Yep. We've got WNBA here. Thumbs up, thumbs down. We taking this play.
WNBA.
Reverse the order this time. I'm taking this play. I see a 10-cent drop on a limit increase. I know WNBA lines are super volatile, but this time of day, this graph checks my boxes. I see a limit increase corresponding with a 10-cent move down. I take it. I don't think twice. And I do it for a half, Kelly. Jay, what about you?
I'm kind of surprised you take this one if you look at open to now, it's really only like a 3-cent drop. But you weren't taking the one with 3 sharps dropping. This is one I personally would not take. It's very early again, so this is an early bet. We only have one sharp book. And WNBA has kind of been very wishy-washy. The lines are moving a lot right now. I think there's a lot of fake outs in that $1,000 limit. I think it's very easy to get faked out. In the morning, sharps might hit another side of a line. That way they can get a better price on the line that they really want. So here we might have the sharps attacking the side that they don't want to get a better price on the side that they do want.
I'm with you, and that's why I'm going to take this bet. So what I think is happening here is someone, max bet at 500 to the other side to bring this up to 110 odds, waited for the limit increase, and then got their plus odds in. And for me, it might be a head fake. This thing might reverse, but I'm going to get reversed at plus money. So I know that I got a plus money bet down, which I like. And it looks like someone bid this up to smack it down. And so, my 3-second read on this is I'm fanning through these across 12 books every morning is I press the button. I take this bet.
Damn, I like that approach that, yeah, we already saw it go up and then it got priced down. So maybe it was set up to grab it at that price on Pinnacle. It also, yeah, correlates with that $1,000 limit. For me though, I'm passing just because no matter, it seems like I can never get the right side of the line on these. I like the logic a lot that Sigma is taking here, but I kind of just have a threshold of a minimum of a $2,000 limit, preferably $3,000. What I look for in WNBA is either $3,000 limits because that's typically the max that we're going to see. Once you're on the max limit, there's no reason to move a line the opposite direction because you already hit the max bet. Whatever way it goes from the max limits is the way that it's supposed to be. The other time I'll hit a lower limit bet is if the market trend has been one way the whole time and there's really no of this up and down. So for me, I get the logic from Sigma. I do actually kind of like it, but I would just pass just because of the way that I've been betting WNBA. It's kind of on the safer side.
Yeah. And
What about Jeff, though? He's had all day to think about this one.
Yeah, go ahead, Math. What you got?
So just because, and this is where knowing markets and knowing limits matters. Like not all markets are the same. Not all markets have the same limits. WNBA, if you look at a WNBA total or spread graph around 6 p.m., it looks like you spent the day at Cedar Point and it's a freaking roller coaster going all over the place. It is really hard to bet WNBA. Top down, especially early in the morning. It seems like whenever we see a line get driven one way, it gets driven back the other way at some time. And this is where those lower limit markets are easily manipulated by sharp bettors because what Sigma said is exactly right. I guarantee somebody who originates WNBA hit this opener to drive it up. And then as soon as that limit increase came, he hammered it back down. I've just seen way too many times that another person on the other side does the same exact thing at the limit increase from 1,000 to 2,000. And limits don't get over 3,000 for WNBA. They max out there. So knowing that this is like at the lower limits, you're just going to see bets go every which way, especially in the WNBA. I just have real pause until the limits get to 3,000. If I see an afternoon $3,000 limit WNBA bet, I'd have way more confidence in it than an early morning WNBA bet like this. But I do understand Sigma's logic, and it's probably pretty accurate. I've just seen graphs turn around 2 or 3, 4 different times in a day over and over and over again in WNBA.
Yeah, for sure. And my caveat is I've got 2 to 3 hours every morning to bet. And I got to take them when my criteria and I don't think about it. And that may be not optimal, but I want to get the most volume I can down in the window when I can do this. And that's the other reason why it's like, I can't wait till the afternoon. I
You got to take your stab.
Because I got to take my shot. And, for me, WNBA totals have been great for me this year. These early graphs at $1,000 limit and up, 1,000 and up. I don't take the 500s, 1,000 and up, 1,000 ideally. I'll take them. All right. Thank you, Math, for all of that. We've got some great questions, and we want to get us all out of here on time.
Real quick, Sigma, before we move on, anybody in chat or anybody that watches this, if you have a graph that you want us to break down, send it to me in a DM on Discord. I think that's going to be huge. If you guys have ones that you have questions on and you can hear our thoughts, I think that'll help everybody. So if you have graphs that you are unsure on if you should play or not, just DM a screenshot of it to me. Please make sure you can see the market, the play, and the graph, everything, so that I can clip it up like you've seen the ones today.
Arjun says there's only one sharp on that last graph. Does that bother you? My take is not really. It's Pinnacle, and I'm good with that. Jump ball. Anybody else? Does one sharp bother anyone? I typically, if one's there, I don't care. I'm good. I trust all 3 sharps independently, and more is better, but not a prereq.
So I'll take one sharps all day long. And the other thing you have to think of, which we didn't mention, is Circa and Bookmaker, the other two sharp books, they only set main lines. So it's typically -110, -110. They don't list alternates. So if you're betting anything that's like +120 and it's a main line, Pinnacle is the only one that has all the alternate spreads and totals. So a lot of time you're only going to be able to see Pinnacle in the DVIG process because they're the only ones with that number up, where Circa and Bookmaker really just stick to the main one number, and they move the number more than they move the odds, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Sniper is asking, are we going to look at prop graphs in these sessions as well? Prop bots tend to have a lot of EV plays greater than 5. Higher the EV, the higher wager. It just seems the prop bets are all good or all bad in a day. I'm rarely flat if I bet all props. Are these bets much riskier than main line bets with drama, upvoting that? Dime, what do you? I mean, the answer is yes. Maybe we, include a couple of player prop graphs in the future. This is a mainline focus first session here. Dime, what do you think?
Yeah, we'll
Let's talk
definitely.
about the 5% limit first, and second, are prop bets riskier than main markets?
Yeah, just because the prop market isn't shaped up by as much money as main lines, obviously. Like even the sharp books will only take a few $100s on prop lines, and their lines where they're taking $20,000 are going to be much sharper than their lines where they're taking $200. With that being said, as much as we like higher EV plays for player props, the trends also matter as well. So if you see multiple retail books dropping their odds, even at a lower EV percentage, I'd still like to play those. If I'm looking at like a flat graph, then yeah, I'd be looking for 3, 4, 5%. We'll get into those for sure next stream because there's a lot of good talking points on player prop graphs as well. So yeah, it's kind of it's its own strategy with player props. It's a little different than main lines, but same basics where you just want to see odds dropping in one book kind of stale.
For sure. All right, Oogs, can you guys explain how you view, this is a theory question, how you view an odds drop right before a limit increase, at a limit increase, and during those periods where we see a flat limit line all the way stretching across the graph, but the price continues to drop? And anyone can take this one.
So whenever the limit is stagnant and we just see a flat line, I will. I usually don't take those bets. Usually, it's only going to be one sharp book as well. So those are bets that I try to stay off of. I normally like to see the limits raising. Oh wait, sorry.
So one thing I'll say, I like to view it from like when I'm looking at odds and limits. There's there's professional bettors looking at the odds and limits, and then there are also the bookmakers at the sharp book. So if there if there's a flat line and then the book says we were taking $2,000 limits, now we're going to take $5,000 limits. It's pretty much tells me that book is confident on kind of where that number is now. So when I see a limit increase on just like a stagnant market, it's telling me the book feels good to take bigger bets. So if you're looking at it as a book side, it shows confidence to increase the limits when nothing is even moving. Typically, you'll see the limit increase and then it get priced down, where the book maybe thought they were confident in a line and they got hit one way. So that's like before, and then the question went away, but he was asking
Yeah,
what
it's
him.
still showing up and answered. So it was like, what
Ah,
happens if we see it, if prices drop before limit increase, right? So you see the graph dipping and the limits go up after the price goes down. We've talked about you want to see it happen in tandem. That's like ideal. And then and then, Jay just answered, if it's not moving and the prices drop, and Jay's answer is he personally passes. I personally pass on those bets as well.
so if the limits aren't moving at all and the price is dropping, it's just information coming in. If there's an injury that happens in the middle of the day, you're not going to see people wait for a limit increase. You're going to go there and hit it at whatever limit there is. So if you're seeing odds drop with a stable limit, most likely it's probably injury lineup related. Sometimes you'll see them quickly get hit, the odds drop, and then the limits drop as well because someone's questionable or something like that. So
That's great. That's great. Bob, Math just sent you something. I don't know if you have the ability to get it up, but while
Yeah,
you're,
you want me to share it real quick? I got it
yeah,
up.
let's do it. Let's take Bob's graph. Full service operation here. That's what we are.
All right. You guys got it?
We good?
Yeah.
So this is a player prop. We've got Fernando Tatis Jr. under 1.5 bases, minus 125, 3.8% EV. Bob, first thing I would say here, quick look. You got a chart that is trending our favor from start to finish. Second thing I would say, look at your scales. This one opens at minus 157 and is sitting at minus 161. 4 cent move, not enough for me to take on a player prop. I want one, especially with player props, that's going to move a lot more. You've got the graph that looks good at a quick glance, but at closer inspection, not my favorite play.
Such a good point. You really have to look at the cents, the magnitude of the move in cents. 4 cent moves on player props, that's not any information that's actionable. I want a 10-cent move or more. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah. It does look a little deceiving. You definitely have to pay attention to your axis and make sure you're actually counting how far your drop is. This is a bet that I would take though. We're just at 4%, and this one has a higher probability to hit. So I'm a sucker for anything that's minus odds, to be honest. And
Yep. Yep.
I would definitely take this bet.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, you also have to consider you're betting deeply short odds here. So your risk is mitigated. You're not taking this ain't a plus 170 to plus 165 move. This is a heavy favorite bet.
Yeah, I'm taking
Bob
this one.
Oh, go ahead, Robbie.
I'm taking this one as well, especially because this odds graph shows like the entire day too. It's from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So it's the whole day. Basically, this line, like we said, it hasn't moved that much. So it's a stable line. Just because the EV is so high is why I would take it. If it was under 3% EV, I'd probably lay off of it because there's no clear movement. It looks like there's good movement, but like we said, it isn't moving that much. Just so that high EV percentage and that win probability probably suckers me into this one.
Yeah,
And
Jeff, you were going to say something. Bob mentioned my confusion is it shows two sharps, Pinnacle and Fanatics. I didn't think Fanatics was a sharp book. It's not, and you're misinterpreting the label at the bottom. Math, you want to take him through it?
Yeah, so anytime a book is used in our DVIG process or considered a sharp, you'll see the line movement on the chart.
Can you
So
scroll it
Fanatics
up
is
so he
just
can see that listed at the bottom? Can everybody see
I can
that?
see it.
Yeah, I
Where
see
it says
Yeah.
Fanatics minus
So
125. Yeah.
Fanatics is actually the book that this play is on. So at the bottom, you'll see the play where the book is on and the books listed in the DVIG process. So this one, what this is telling you is Pinnacle is the book that's been DVIG'd as our sharp, and Fanatics is the book where the play actually exists on.
One thing I would like to mention real quick that we haven't really covered just quickly is also I pay attention to the bet that the book is on. So if I'm betting into FanDuel, I get a little more cautious because they're a little bit harder to beat, in my opinion. I've struggled against them this year, so I'm a little cautious. But a book like Fanatics, I'm taking everything I can on there if the graph looks okay.
Robert Bet
Okay.
is
Quick.
what's the second sharp on this play? I see two knives. Great question.
That's probably just a bug on our part. It's only one sharp book, I would say.
The general
We'll
rule,
check it out.
betting data can be choppy, like my internet connection. And if you see a second sharp, but you don't see a line or a number listed at the bottom, safe to assume you can ignore it and just chalk it up to odds feed issues. It's all good.
Yeah, I've seen those knives be off before, but yeah, it's really whatever's every DVIG book that we use is charted, so that's really what I would look at. The knives can give you a quick reference point, obviously, if they're accurate. This one's probably not, but that's why they're there.
All right.
Yeah, last thing I'll say on this one real quick. For the guys that say they would take this play, does it give you pause that it's bounced in both directions multiple times to the point where there is not significant, but there is clearly people that believe both sides of this bet have an edge and there's not one clear direction that it's moving? To me, that would give me pause because somebody moved this bet from minus 160 all the way back up to minus 157, 156 at one point. Like to me, that tells me that the people that are on this play are split and divided, and there is no clear side that is sharp.
I think
All right, we
that's
got. Go ahead. Last
yeah,
word
I
on
was
this
about to
one,
say,
Jim.
to me, I take that as the opposite, where the fair value is right in between the bettors hitting it on both sides of the line. So I would almost say the fair value is closer to that -159, because if it goes too high, it gets priced one way. If it goes too low, it gets priced one way. That sweet spot's probably somewhere right in the middle, but that's my
One more
take.
thing, sorry, Sigma. I also wanted to say that you also have to you also have to pay attention to the timing for player props. So this draft is on a straight drop from 5 p.m. That's probably around the time that lineup was announced. You could assume San Diego plays the late games usually. So I assume they got the word of the starting pitcher around 5 p.m. where we see the line drops in favor.
All
Yeah,
right.
to each their own, I guess. I'm not touching it, but I can understand, I guess, why you guys would.
Yeah, Bob, you're very welcome. That's why I wanted to start doing this. We're all in this together. So we're going to close the Q&A. So the questions we got 5 minutes left in the hour we set aside. Let's try and get through what's in there now. Nefik or Nefak, apologies if I scrambled that. Why isn't everyone in the EV community using graphs? Isn't this a controversial way to bet? Dime, I'm going to give that to you.
The real reason that everyone isn't using graphs is because it's difficult to get the historical data. So you need to basically save all of the, like every time Pinnacle moves their odds, we need to put it in a database and store it, and then be able to pull it later in the day to show you guys when a bet pulls up. Um, I think just people aren't aware about how, I think it's becoming more mainstream now. I really think that we were one of the first discords or even companies that started betting more based on line movement. So I think it's becoming very popular now. I'm seeing, every big EV service start talking about line movement, but we were definitely ahead on this one. And it's really just a data issue, I think, with people getting the data. But it's definitely like it's the way to bet EV betting. It just puts you on so many better plays.
Yeah, my answer on that is not everyone's doing it because the tech behind it is really, really hard. And the four of us know that firsthand. Remember, everybody who's been here a while, when graphs went down because betting data feeds suck and they're hard to work with. And so, we re-engineered the whole thing and put a lot of investment into rebuilding this graph engine so that we could add limits. And our tech scanned something like 4 million individual bets and prices a day and adds a megabyte to the database every second. And we just over it all up and we have it. And, the industry started when OddsJam, one of the earlier, commercial platforms, just would give you an EV number and say, this is a good bet. But what we know at Sharp Money is a price by itself doesn't tell you anything. You really need to see the limit action. And so, the three of you guys had all of us independently, but just had this vision of we can add limits to the graphing. We're going to have something no one else has. And so you still in the market today, I don't think you can really find something where in one glance you have all the information you need. And I think that's a horn tooting, but it's our edge. It's our differentiator. It's why the four of us have been able to use this product so successfully personally. Billy is asking, what time of day do you get the most value down on your plays? Jay, you want to take that one? This is for all sports, night before, morning, afternoon.
Yeah, I kind of just fire away, but I always pay attention to game time. I'm not taking 24 hours out unless it is Pinnacle and tennis. Those two sports I give a little bit of leeway to. I said Pinnacle and tennis, sorry, soccer and tennis. Soccer and tennis are the only two that I will take a week in advance, day in advance. But everything else I keep it 10 hours, 12 hours within the time frame, unless of course it's a late game and I have good movement around 7 a.m. But I like to fire off most of my bets in the morning, and I also try again around 4 p.m. around the time that lineups are coming out. That way we get a little bit more confirmation. Ooh, that's it, y'all.
All right. Anything else on that one? I've stated mine. It's 6 to 9 a.m. is 90% of my action because that's the life I got, and that's what I can do, and it works. It works for me. I can get 20 to 50, 50 in the fall, probably 20 to 30 in the spring to summer, post NBA. NBA season, I can have 80, 100 bets a day, and I can do it in 2 hours. And I is just using this product and having a good setup to be able to just rip this stuff. Dime, what about you? You're 24/7 from my
Yeah, I kind of
experience.
I don't have like a dedicated block of time for it. I just got the notifications on. When I get breaks at work, I'm hitting them. Just any downtime, little bathroom break, we're hitting them. So as you know, throughout the day for sure. I think the volume definitely picks up. Early morning, I wake up to a decent amount of bets, and then it's pretty dead from like I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock to like 2. And then lineups come out, you could start hitting them pretty good again. So around lunchtime, it kind of slows down for me, but I'm pretty much all day long. I pretty much stop betting at like 7 o'clock at night. So I'm mostly,
Yeah.
but yeah, all before that.
Math, what about you?
You should have let me go before, Robbie. Uh, Literally the best time that I find MLB bets is 9 a.m. to noon. That's when that first big MLB jump is in terms of a limit increase. That's where I find my best MLB bets. But literally, as long as like you can find time throughout the day and find a good bet as long as you're following the same criteria. But I've just found that first big limit jump is where you'll see a lot of really, really good graphs around 9 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah. All right, 2 more, then we'll wrap. Mevlidin, English Premier League player props on the bots soon. Dime.
Right now we have a list of projects, and adding soccer player props are not on there right now. That's something we could definitely look into, though. I'm assuming Pinnacle's probably going to be your sharp book there. I just don't even know how much. I mean, English Premier League is obviously a large soccer league. I'm not sure how many retail books have kind of the soccer player prop markets out there, or how much you could even really bet on them. But something we can look into if a lot of members want it, and we're caught up on the list of projects that we have already lined up.
Mhm. Yep. Bob has a good comment, Jay, for your basket of features we're tracking. I see it now for Oakland. It says 8:05. I'm in Massachusetts, so it's 9. Is there a way to add time zone to the plays? I think all plays are Eastern. Wait, no,
Central.
They
Central
used to be
time.
Eastern. They're Central now for some reason.
Time we never adjusted after the time zone. I meant not the time zone.
Daylight
Daylight
savings.
Daylight
savings.
savings. So eventually it'll
Yeah.
be back to Eastern pretty soon.
So Jay, let's consider our next feature discussion maybe time stamping the time zone. I think that's a good suggestion, Bob.
Yeah, I'll take that in.
All right, Brent. Everyone runs dual screens, I assume, with super fast computers. Here's the honest take. I'm super paranoid about account health, and I spend too much money acquiring accounts that I can bet, and I will not use my computer to get volume down because I am convinced, this is me being paranoid, this is tinfoil hat. I'm convinced they know sharp bettors want dual screens in computers, and if you're coming in, they know that your device is a laptop, and I would say laptop bets are probably on average sharper bets. So I hand bet everything from my phone while looking at a dual screen setup with Discord on one, and I'm usually running an odds screen on the other. I'll have unabated live odds screen up on one. I got our Discord running on the other, and I'm hand betting it with my phone because I'm a nerd like that.
I am like 99% phone. Just notifications on for Sharp Money. When I get a ping, that's all I do. Like I said, I don't dedicate any time to bet throughout the day, so I'm never sitting down at a computer. I don't have an office job either, so I don't ever have monitors up. So I'm literally just the phone's on. When I'm available, I turn notifications on and I hit the bets on my phone.
All right, final
Yeah.
question. Go ahead, Jay. You got it.
No, go ahead. I have the same answer as you guys. Go ahead.
Final question. So we're running a little over, but it's all good. These questions have been great. Jack Cat is asking, this is maybe a little more in-depth answer required here. Can you describe the process for converting no sweat bets? For example, I had a Wimbledon no sweat bet, max bet 250. I bet 250 on Skinner Jokovic over 40.5. What am I supposed to do to limit my exposure? I think he means just, hedge it on the other side. Jump ball.
Yeah, so basically what you should do, especially if you're growing your bankroll, and let's just say your unit size isn't $250. is you put that no sweat bet on one side of the line and you hedge the other side. There's tools for this. I don't know if it's Odds Shopper. I know Odds Jam has one too. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to put a hedge bet in there. If that bet loses, you're going to have the free bet come to you, and then you can convert a free bet as well. So there's a way to lock in basically like, I think it's like 60% of your profit of your, 60% of your free bet. So you're talking 120, 100, I don't know, $35 or something like that, guaranteed profit there. So that's just the basics how you do it. You would probably want to use a tool like OddsJam to actually convert it to find the best odds on both sides.
Well, you could probably use a different tool. So we have a bonus conversion channel in the Discord, and if you just talk in there, most people are pretty friendly and they'll help you out. They have a couple people who also convert, so they'll send plays that they use as well.
Very good. All right, and then one more. Let's see. Did we catch all of these? All right, I think we're good. Hey, with that, I want to thank everybody. We had real consistent attendance throughout this whole thing. That tells us you like the topic. We of course want your feedback, and we can take it to Discord, DM us, post in premium chat. Tell us what you want to see. Tell us what you want to see different. We're going to be doing this every Thursday, and we'll be passing the host responsibilities every week. Thanks for being a member. On behalf of Closing Dime Math Wins Plays, this is Sigma Squirrel saying thank you so much. We will be posting this recording to our YouTube channel, and we look forward to seeing you here next week. Thank you all. Have a good night.
See you guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Later.